It is 8:12, and right now we are under a weather impact alert. Looking okay right now as you look out over Clearwater Beach. You can see those clouds, and some of them are a little darker than others. But that rain is headed our way in just a few hours, and I'm joined now by the star of our show this morning,
I don't know about that.
meteorologist James Gregorio. Well, you're the only people we want to hear from because they're trying to time out their day with all these outdoor events. But we've got the Bucks game, we got boat parades, we've got a parade out on the beaches. We're going to go through all the events a little later in the show, but
Mom Nature not really cooperating later this afternoon.
Time it out for us.
I know, yeah. So later this afternoon is perhaps the worst part of the day. Maybe the second half of the Bucks game might get clipped as well.
Yikes.
So,
okay.
Not great news. All right, let's jump right into it here because we have a lot to unpack this afternoon. So let's get after it. And here's the deal this morning. Morning fog a possibility. But this afternoon, things really start to tick up and get busier and more active with a chance for some showers, maybe an isolated storm. We don't think it'll be severe, but I can't rule out an isolated boomer or two, particularly this afternoon, let's say from 3 o'clock to about 7 o'clock. That's probably our best window. Satellite and radar picture pretty quiet now, which is good news. However, visibilities are still terrible in Sebring, about a quarter mile. Zephyr Hills, Temple Terrace, Plant City, about 10-mile visibility for you. Temperatures for the most part, Land O'Lakes at 64, Lutz at about 62. Let's expand that view. And you know what? Wauchula at 64, Frostproof at about 65. Those numbers are actually pretty comfortable because they're not super humid at this point. All right, Futurecast. This is our best friend today because we're timing it out hour by hour. 12:30. Might start to tick up with a stray little shower or two. We're at 76 degrees. 3 o'clock, this is where it starts to get a whole lot more interesting, particularly this big band of rain, heavy rain moving in towards the Nature Coast, some storms with that as well. 78 degrees with a southerly wind at 13, just pumping in the moisture. All right, and we're starting to get some rain potentially in and around the Bay Area. So if you're driving around, you got plans this afternoon, 3 o'clock. If you're at Ray J at 3 o'clock, game time kickoff is at 1. So game's still going on probably at 3. And then look at all that rain fill in by 5, 6 o'clock or so. So this really is the worst of it. So I think the window is, let's say, from 3 to 7. But within that window, if I were to break it down even more, it really is pretty terrible from 4 until about 7 here, dialing in a little bit. And then most of that rain continues to move out by 11 o'clock. So that's the heaviest. That by far is the worst, most impactful, and potentially dangerous weather if you're on the roads or ponding on the roads or any sort of kind of quasi-flash flooding, which could be a possibility if we get some really heavy rain in a really short amount of time. So as we head in towards tomorrow morning, this all kind of moves on out of here. See you goodbye. And we're looking much, much better. So we left a weather impact alert in place for tomorrow morning. Now, keep in mind, after 9 a.m., it is a very different scenario than it is up until maybe 6 a.m. So really, this is more so for overnight and into very, very early tomorrow morning. 8, 9 o'clock, there could be a couple stray showers, but I don't think it's going to be a big issue. Forecasted rainfall. This could be a big issue, and it is. These aren't drought-busting rains, but they're kind of drought-denting rains if we get 1.5 inches worth of rain, which would be fantastic here as we zoom it on in. Let's zoom it on in a little bit further. How much rain we talking about? Bradenton, Sarasota, over 1 inch. That'd be great. St. Pete, close to 1 inch, 0.8 of an inch worth. So that would be fantastic if we get all of that. All right, so the frontal boundary is the catalyst for this. This is the culprit. This is going to bring us that much needed rain. We don't need the heavy rain that will run off and perhaps some potential for flash flooding either. All right, so Saints and Bucks here as we move in towards halftime and game end. This is where it's really game on for Mom Nature. So this is where we're watching this really, really closely for some of the worst weather today. So 78 here, potentially for some morning fog, but really afternoon rain. Isolated downpours are possible. Tonight, temperatures dip down into the upper 60s. Spotty showers are here through the overnight hours, but not especially heavy, especially after 9 o'clock. And then tomorrow, 74, could be an early shot of rain, perhaps a downpour. But again, the better bet for downpours is really later this afternoon. Quick look at that 7-day forecast. Much improved Tuesday and Wednesday, where high temperatures will be in the upper 60s to near 70 degrees. So we just have to get through tomorrow morning, Jenny, and then it's pretty smooth sailing for the rest of the week.
Yeah, I would. If you're driving tomorrow morning trying to get to work, people should give themselves extra time as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.